Today I've got a great guest joining us for a wonderful conversation. I'm joined today by Jerry Agrusa. He's been a host in the past and certainly will help us understand a better look at the impact of the entertainment industry on tourism. A real interesting connection, of course, here in Hawaii, very important, but also in many parts of the world. So we're calling our show The Effect of Global Entertainment on Tourism. And joining me today, Jerry Agrusa. Jerry, thanks for joining us here on Global Connections once again.
Well, thank you, Carlos, for having me.
Great to see you, and I know, one of the things we're going to turn to is you obviously, just remind some of our listeners, what you do. You're obviously a professor of hospitality.
We're called Hospitality and Tourism Management now in the College of Business at Hawaii Pacific University.
Yes. Yep. And basically, this is important because it's our #1 industry in Hawaii, and it helps bring the world to us here at many levels.
We do very well with that. This year has been a record year. Last year, when you were kind enough to have me as your guest, we made a prediction that hotels will be full, and they're at record levels right now, and they're getting record hotel rates. Actually, I'm worried that it might be a little too high. They're charging a little bit too much money, but the people are coming, so they can keep charging.
Yeah, and yet this tourism, of course, it presents some challenges on some level. We're going to see even something looking at the impact of the entertainment industry, more specifically, whether it's movie industries or things like that, television. And so maybe just another is that you've come back this past summer. You've had opportunity to present some of your ongoing research, and you've got some new projects in the pipeline. So give us a quick snapshot. What's on your plate?
Okay, well, right now we started a new project. I started a project with 2 other faculty members at HPU. Taking the lead is actually Brian Metcalf. He's a psychology professor, and he and his wife, Cathrine Linnes, and we're actually looking at the effects of a new animated film by Disney called Frozen.
Very popular.
It's the highest grossing animated film of all time, over $1 billion. And what we're doing is we're looking at the effects of that on Norway tourism, as well as what's happened is the Disney, who produced it now wants to change part of EPCOT's Norway Pavilion and make it partly into Frozen because of the amount of popularity and the amount of people that are trying to come. And some of the things that we found in our research is that people wait 3-4 hours for the signatures of the characters from that movie. And now there's because of social media, there's huge complaints that there's not enough merchandise from the Frozen. People are going to stores and it's sold out. And actually at Disney parks, as well as some other stores, they limit the number of items you can buy that is from Frozen. You can buy Mickey, 10 of those, but from Frozen you can only buy 2 or 3.
That increases the value.
It reminds you of the old Cabbage Patch dolls back in the day.
Oh boy! Well, and we'll speak more about this. The case of Norway, of course, which people are not always aware, but it has important links with Hawaii. Way back in the days, you had whalers that used to come here. Today, it's large hordes of students that come out.
That's right.
And actually, as it happens, Hawaii brings the largest number of Norwegian students to HPU. And we're back, and we're live, and this is Global Connections, part of the ThinkTech Hawaii broadcast series. Thank you for joining us. We're going to continue a great conversation. Jerry Agrusa joining us, and of course looking at some interesting things, the connection between entertainment industry, movies, film, and television shows, and tourism, because there is a clear link. We were just beginning to talk a little more about the case of this very big blockbuster film, Frozen, an animated film that's of course out these days. But let's turn in a moment to some of the images we've got right here, and this again looks at the movie industry and its impact on tourism.
Well, as you see here in the first picture, this is actually Frozen Adventures Awaits. Actually, Disney has put it on their list of adventure tours. So Disney has their own, and same with a number of other tour companies in Norway, so that you could come and see the places that you saw in it. Yeah. Now, Frozen was such a great success. It's an animated film, and Disney didn't expect it to be so big. I guess they projected somewhere around 200 million, and when it hit 400 million, they realized that there were a number of songs. So what they did was they had the movie, then they had the movie with the sing-along, where they put the words of all the songs when they played. So as people went back to see it again,
you could
to sing with the movie. Now, it's projected more for younger people. I guess they would be considered children, somewhere between ages, 5 and 15. And lots of young ladies that that want to sing with them,
Yeah.
and then they know all the songs. My friends that have young females, young girls as daughters, tell me it's amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
They know it all.
Yes.
Here's the second
So we'll
slide.
turn to the next picture here.
Now here are the characters, as
Yeah.
you can see,
From the film,
from the movie, and these two are the two leads, the two young ladies,
Yeah,
and
in
they're
the
the ones that are the singers, and they've done very well animated, as well as with they have a reel here. We'll show you here. Now here is Anna and Elsa are the two lead females, and this is people in Disney waiting for their autographs. So these young ladies that are dressed up like it, like we have with Snow White and
Yeah,
so
yeah.
on.
So these are
but they'll
characters.
wait hours.
Yeah.
While even Snow White, you can go and see maybe 45-minute wait, 2 or 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, yeah.
And parents, now on social media, they have they're texting away. This is not good. We're waiting too long. And then here's a picture from what Disney actually from the show. So you could see that it does look very similar to Norway.
Yeah.
Now, one of the negatives is that some of the destinations in Norway don't want any more tourists. And we're looking at that as well in our project. And this here, as you can see, these are hay bales up on a hillside of a little town called Flum.
Flom in Norway,
And,
yeah.
and they'll get 150,000 visitors a year from cruise ships. And there's only like 300 or 400 people that live there. So you'll have all these cruise ships come, everyone will get off the boat, 1,000 people,
Yeah.
and then they'll take pictures and they'll come back on the boat.
Wow.
And they are not happy with this.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're actually looking at, in our study that we're doing currently, is the effects of if this movie brings more people to Norway, do the people want that many more tourists? And we have a similar situation here on the North Shore.
Sure.
I mean, you have sometimes, once the big waves come,
It gets a little too crowded.
the roads are just
Traffic
too much traffic.
So again, this is in some ways the impact it has on local communities. It can be really a double-edged sword.
Right.
It is our important growth industry here, the number one, but it has some some negative.
Right, and if you don't,
effects.
if you look, we've had a number of movies. We had Blue Crush, and then we had a couple of other Point Break that were filmed up on the North Shore there, and then people want to come see that. But if they want to come when all the waves are, and then we have all the major surfing competitions,
yeah.
and then you have all the normal tourists that are going up there. There's just no place to go. There's no place to park.
That's right. No, it does create that challenge, and I'm thinking of these small communities in Norway where they just want to be left alone.
Right,
and
the
yet,
farming community,
yeah.
we're doing fine with our own milk and our own dairy
Yeah.
and our own stuff, and we don't need all these tourists coming off
Yeah.
asking if they could use the restroom because they have to go and there's no
Yeah.
place to go. There's no public restrooms. They don't take into account that you have a ship that comes in with 1,000 or 2,000 people on it. Right now, my mom is actually on a cruise ship in Norway with her 2 sisters for the next 10 days looking at all the sites
Amazing.
before it gets too cold over there.
And so this is a piece that you're working on now. You've got the other 2
Correct.
colleagues helping you.
We have our other,
Yeah.
like I said, Dr. Metcalf, he's taken the lead, and Dr. Cathrine Linnes. And Dr. Linnes is Norwegian, so she converted the survey into Norwegian.
Yeah.
So when we're surveying the Norwegian residents, it's in Norwegian.
Yeah, yeah.
And then folks that we're looking at getting their opinion that are travelers, we have it in English.
Yeah, yeah.
And we actually have, let me see.
A sample here.
Yeah, I have a
See if we can take a look at this screenshot here.
yeah, we have
This is one of the questionnaire questions.
This is actually where the website is. It's on SurveyMonkey.
Uh-huh.
And we're interested in knowing the thoughts of Norwegian tourism as a whole. We're looking at what people think about the animated movie of Frozen. And also if they should, that Norwegian Pavilion at EPCOT is going to change if they put in Frozen. Do people want this? And what are some of the effects to that? Because the EPCOT was supposed to be on the original culture,
Yes,
not on animated.
the sort of Hollywood, manufactured version, of course. So it raises a lot of sensitive issues. Of
It does,
course.
because it would be like at
Yeah.
Polynesian Cultural Center doing a thing on Lilo and Stitch.
Yes.
Lilo and Stitch was not, it is Hawaii. It did do some things correctly, but some things it didn't do correctly.
right,
I talked to a native Hawaiian yesterday who is very talked about the Lido and Stitch, and they said the good thing was the word Ohana got out to the rest of the world.
Yeah,
that people understand that Ohana means family.
That's right. That's
a
right.
positive of Leo and Stitch.
Yeah, so it is, again, it's this double-edged sword. We like it, it's exciting, it's interesting, but there are some negative externalities, some impacts that sometimes may not always be as positive, or may change the perception or the image in a way that is not desirable.
Just like people who go to New York. You go to New York, most TV shows about New York are crime dramas, right? Yeah. NYPD, Blues, Blue Bloods, all these things. So when you go to New York as a tourist, if you're not mugged, you're thinking, why not? Because they think that that's part of going to New York. Should be pickpocketed or mugged, just like in Rome. You should be pickpocketed. It's just what they're known for. And because that is the image that we put out in film or TV, people expect that.
That's right. And tell me, maybe speak a little bit about the process of the research that you do, because a lot of it is, trying to assess opinion, doing survey research and the like, and there must be some just puzzling challenges when you're dealing with either foreigners. I'm just thinking, often how you word things, or even how you build trust in somebody to answer a questionnaire.
That's the challenge. A lot of times people think you're trying to sell something to them.
Yeah.
And what you really want to do is don't have any names and no emails. So I'm not going to chase you down afterwards. This is very important.
Quick, anonymous survey.
Right. And when you do surveys in other languages, you need to do, it's called a double back translation. So I write this, I give it to you, you do it, you translate it for me in Spanish. Then I get Jay, who's fluent in Spanish and English. He doesn't know you did it. He takes the Spanish version and translates it back into English. And then we take it and we translate it back into Spanish to make sure that they're all the same.
Quality assurance. And even there,
clarity.
There's a lot of nuances and idioms, and if you're not familiar with that, it could really
Correct. So that's what we did here. We were very fortunate. Catherine, and then we had someone else check Catherine's translation. And then we do this all the time, especially with Japanese. I do most of my Japanese survey, when I survey Japanese tourists, always in Japanese, Chinese, always in Chinese, Koreans, always in Korean. Because it makes them feel comfortable. They're willing to do that, number one. Number two is you tell them you're doing this for research purposes. That's what one of the things United try to get out there, that we're here, we're an academic, we're not getting paid for this, it's not part of a marketing scheme. We're doing this. And then when we do it, once we have the research completed, we try to share the knowledge through academic peer-reviewed research journals. I did a paper a few years ago on how the meter is a significant promotional tool in delivering marketing messages. And we looked at product placement in that, and how, just specifically cars. When the Cooper Mini came out, the Italian Job, that helped push that car.
That movie, in other
that
words.
That movie pushed that car out there. It had, it was a bank robbery, and they were going through the tunnels and all that stuff. But that people were like, I want that car. It's little, but look how fast it can go, and so on. And the same thing when you have a James Bond movie. They always come up with something.
There's always a car that's part of it.
Always a car. BMW came out. 2 BMW models came out through that, and now the Aston Martin came back. That brand is back, and now it's super high end. It's for those that, okay, you have the Jaguar, you have the Mercedes, you have the Beamer, I have the Aston Martin.
If you have to ask the price for it,
you're right. That's right. You're not a professor. You're not a professor at HBU anyway.
Very well. Well, it's a fascinating area, and of course one that both in because the entertainment is so, and in the media world we live in now, we're so inundated with it, and a movie like Frozen, you don't see it once, you see it many times. You get the DVD version, you have it. They
actually haven't sold the DVD version yet.
Okay, maybe.
But it's on the Netflix and it's on the Stars channel.
That's right. Yeah.
But they have both versions. I said the original version and then the sing along.
Yeah.
So the lady who cuts my hair, she has a daughter that's 6. She says, we hear every song over and over and over. It's like when Barney came out.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how Disney missed it. They didn't realize it. That it was going to be such a major hit. And they're jumping on it now. They're jumping on it now. And they're looking at where. Now, part of the thing, too, is will EPCOT change? EPCOT, out of all the Disney parks, EPCOT is supposed to be educational. But
and you've got the country pavilions that try to promote the image of that country.
True culture.
Yeah.
And then you have to see, are they going to change? What are they going to do? Right now they're in talks with the Norwegian government, and one of the questions we ask in our survey is, should the Norwegian government pay with their tax dollars, the wealthiest country in the world per capita?
Yeah, that's right.
Or should they find corporate sponsors because those oil companies doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Or should we just let Disney do it and let them do what they do best, but then they might change what the culture is being in the images,
that's right.
and or just don't do anything. And then, because it's 25 years since they've updated that pavilion, and it was going down.
Yeah.
But now the kids want to run there. They want to see Frozen.
That's right.
They want to see
they have
Frozen.
the season. So what's fascinating, I think relevant for us, is that you've got a connection, a link between this entertainment world and something like the image and sort of marketing that countries do to help promote tourism and or otherwise maybe even limit or shape the tourism that they get.
Right. I know. We paid many millions of dollars to Disney to put Lilo and Stitch here to use it as it was Hawaii.
Yeah,
Or I don't know if it was the DBED or the Tourism Authority. One of those guys gave money to Disney, and we do that. And a lot of times people pay. For instance, Eat, Pray, Love, that movie that was with
Julia Roberts.
Julia Roberts. Yes,
Uh-huh.
the Indonesian government, specifically Bali, paid money to make sure that final scene was in Bali. Yeah. The challenge was that 2 weeks before the release of the movie, there was an independent film called The Kuta Cowboys, which was a movie on what happens is you have these outside tourists, females, ages between 30 and 50, who go to this place called Kuta, which is part of Bali, and they meet these young guys that are surf boys. They're called surf boys, cowboys. They teach you how to surf, but they'll actually be your escort for the next 2 weeks. And the independent film did, and they won #1. They won top prize, and it showed all 26 guys. They interviewed them in depth. Yes, I give extra services for money, and this is how I support my family, and so on. The Balinese government, they went nuts. They arrested them.
Yeah.
So the movie,
too invasive.
The movie went and showed these guys' faces, and then the Indonesian government went and arrested all those guys. So, as a researcher, and as this girl did this documentary, she actually put these guys in jeopardy because going to Indonesian jail isn't like going to jail here. It's a whole different ball of wax. And how that Eat, Pray, Love was supposed to be a big push for
promoting Bali in a more positive
as females,
way.
because there's a huge amount of females that are single, ages 30 to 50, that have money now, and they're traveling by themselves. They're traveling by themselves. And that Eat, Pray, Love, right? She went to eat in Italy, pray in India, and then to find love in Bali.
Fascinating. Well, Jerry, I want to thank you. It's been a great conversation. Again, understanding some of the nexus, the links between the entertainment industry, movies, films, and so on, and tourism, which is, again, a critical industry for us here, but in many other places. And it's just, valuable to share some of your ongoing research. As you continue this, we'll have you back for updates on that. I want to thank you, our listeners, for joining us here today on Global Connections, as we do always every week here. Bringing you some informed opinion and perspective. Joined today by Jerry Agrusa, an eminent academic authority on tourism, hospitality management, and today a great conversation on the effects of global entertainment on tourism. Thank you for joining us here on Global Connections, part of the ThinkTech Hawaii series. We'll be back with more as we continue next week. Aloha.